Oh, I just pushed the credits live. Apparently I'm on the credits live. All right. We're live. We are live. Hello, humans.
We did it
We did.
once again. But just to warn everybody, we're going to be off next week. I don't know. I feel like there's something happening next Monday.
I don't know. Maybe one of those like last time while we're alive on our continent kind of events.
Yeah. I checked. It's the first solar eclipse to go through Texas since the mid 1800s.
Wow.
So, if people feel like this happens all the time, it does not happen all the time.
No. So the one thing I was in the process of looking up is when is the next total solar eclipse in North America? So there's one in 2099. There's one in 2045. That's sooner. So 2045 is the next one, it looks like.
Oh, this is a terrible list. Hold on. Okay. 2050. Okay, so what do we got? 2033.
Is that total?
It's total, but it was visible in Alaska.
Oh, okay. So 2033 is Alaska?
Yeah, 2039 is Alaska. 20. This one's pretty good. 2044 goes through, like, kind of comes down into Alberta, but it passes, down through northern Canada and down into Alberta.
Is that total or annular? Oh, now I see it on my map.
Total.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that's total. So sorry, the 2039 one is annular. The 2044 one is total. 2045 is total.
Wait,
That's a good one.
33 is annular or
Yeah. 2045 is total. That's a good one. 2045 goes like the 2017 one, pretty much. It's a little south. Just goes straight across the US from Northern California through Colorado, sort of Florida.
Is that the same SWRI cycle? I think it must be.
I don't know. And then you've got annulars 2046 and 2048.
Okay, let me look up the SWRI cycle.
All hail Fred Espenak.
Yes, him retiring is one of the saddest things.
Yeah. He just produces these beautiful simulations of when the total solar eclipses are going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. What SWRI cycle are you? How do you spell SWRI cycle? Not like that.
SOROS?
SAR.
Saros.
Scrolling. Yes. Wait, no, that's 2117. That's a different year, clearly. So 2045 is SAR cycle 136. 2009 was this Saros cycle. It looks like 2017 is a different solar Saros cycle.
Mm.
I was wrong. Okay. Cool. I need audio recording software.
How's that coming?
I am working on opening it now. So I got up and came downstairs and discovered the power had been off down here. So there has been a fair amount of
Yeah.
WTF, plug, unplug, because
Yeah.
anything that wasn't plugged into the UPS just like shut itself down, and yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It is opening. Go ahead.
Oh, so saucy sweet S. How can I safely watch this solar eclipse? Any suggestions?
Yes, so many of them, so very many, and they will
Now,
all
do we
come
want
up
to
during
cover
the
that?
show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Because the way the title was, you were saying experiments during the eclipse, and so I know
I
there's a
think
bunch
we
of
need
NASA experiments.
to at least spend 3 to 5 minutes on how you can actually observe this while you're participating in citizen science.
Okay.
And then
And
I
this is,
have all
you
the
want to,
science stuff up as well.
okay, so let's watch the eclipse and do some science. Let's do that. Okay.
Okay.
And that way, because the impression I got was like, what is the science that NASA is going to be doing?
Oh, I had what is the science that is going to happen, full stop. So citizen science on the ground, NASA science, the
Okay.
Eddington project, which I don't know who is funding.
Okay. All right. So it's going to be how to watch a total solar eclipse and do some science.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
That's
can't mention solar eclipses without spending at least a couple of minutes telling people how not to blind themselves.
Yeah, but there's more to it. Like, I think, like, obviously don't blind yourself, but then I think there's a I don't know, there's like a really subtle tips. Like I keep getting the same questions from people, and I think it's important that we cover this.
Okay.
So yeah. Like we talked about this last week, but like, people want to take pictures during the eclipse.
Yeah, don't.
Or I had someone today email me and they're like, well, I want to go to find a place that's going to be good to watch the eclipse. And so I was thinking by the water, but in a park, but the parks are really foresty, and that is not like, that is not what matters. What matters is
Yeah.
mobility. What matters is you finding a way to get to sunshine from where you are.
Yeah.
And so you should be next to a way to travel along the eclipse path that gets you
That has plenty of back roads as well.
that has plenty of back roads, and that what you're looking for is a place where you can see the sun, and that is anywhere. You could be in a dense forest, but as long as you can see the sun, it'll be fine. But if you are in a forest, if you're in a place with a big parking lot and it's going to be slow to get in and slow to get out, you don't want that. Many of the most successful eclipse hunters have share stories with them hopping in their car, driving back roads, reaching the side of a driveway, and then standing and enjoying the eclipse.
During the 2017 eclipse, one of our friends, Phoenix, managed to get the giant SUV he was driving airborne on a farmer's road as they literally outraced a cloud to get someplace clear for totality.
Yeah, and then you just stop, you get out of your car, and you enjoy 2 minutes of totality, and then you get home. And so you're not going to get figuring out your mobility. I guess think of it more like a bank robbery than a first date.
Yes,
is sort of a good way to approach it. All right, let's get started.
I'm stealing that analogy, by the way.
Do it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so Spicy Sauce is saying, I heard Niagara Falls will expect over 1 million visitors for this eclipse. Yeah, I would not go to Niagara Falls.
No.
I would go anywhere but Niagara Falls. Like, you want to go to the place that is just a back road in the middle of nowhere that is on the eclipse path, and you think you can get in and get out and also be able to have mobility north and south along the path.
You want to either have a giant paper map or a giant monitor the night before the eclipse to
Yeah.
look at the weather
All right.
and figure out
Well,
yeah, okay, we should
let's
be
do this in the
recording.
show.
What
Yeah,
episode
yeah.
number is this?
715.
Okay. All right. I'm pressing record on my audio. I am
I
pressing
have also pressed
record
record.
on the. Okay.
All right. Astronomy Cast, episode 715, How to Watch a Total Solar Eclipse and Do Some Science. Welcome to Astronomy Cast, our weekly facts-based journey through the cosmos, where we help you understand not only what we know, but how we know what we know. I'm Fraser Cain. I'm the publisher of Universe Today. With me, as always, is Dr. Pamela Gay, a senior scientist for the Planetary Science Institute and the director of CosmoQuest. Hey, Pamela, how you doing?
I am doing much better than last week, and I would like to say to everyone who stuck through it, thank you. While we were
Right.
trying to record that episode, everything on my screen was flashing red. And I have to give a special thanks and a special shout out to Richard Drum, our editor, for hiding most of the chaos that was occurring,
Right.
and to our patrons who allow us to pay him. It turns out that our local fiber trunk was in the process of being sliced through while we were recording the episode. And about 10 minutes after we were done with like fighting the internet gods to keep things going, all internet was lost for about 24 hours.
Oh,
Local construction, the message we got from our provider was fabulous. It was a third party doing construction sliced through the fiber trunk. No, we don't know
oh,
when it will be fixed. It was the most
yeah.
passive aggressive, wonderful,
Right.
and thank you all for your patience. Thank you, Rich, so much. And patrons, you're the ones that allow us to keep going and have as close to excellent as we can get when I'm distracted by red flashing lights as possible episodes when all the red lights are flashing. Thank
It would
you,
have,
all of you.
yeah, I mean, the episode would have been twice as long with us troubleshooting live during the
Yeah.
episode. Is it you? Is it me? Is it YouTube? No, YouTube. What? Yeah, yeah. No. Turns out your fiber connection was being degraded in real time while we were attempting to do the episode. I'm amazed we got through it
Yeah.
as much as we did because
Yeah.
you sent me a text message maybe 15 minutes after we closed like, well, we're all offline, and it was a disaster. So I'm amazed.
So thank you, everyone.
All right. The next great eclipse is upon us, with viewers across North America witnessing the moon passing in front of the sun. It's an amazing experience, but also an opportunity to do some science. Let's talk about what we can learn from this momentous event and how to maximize your chance of getting it in your eyeballs. And we'll talk about it in a second, but it's time for a break. And we're back. All right, Pamela, you are a veteran eclipse hunter. How many total solar eclipses have you witnessed in all of your years of chasing after eclipses?
0.
0.
The running joke is you want to be anywhere but near me. The two
That's
of
my
us were,
plan this year.
yeah. So the two of us were both vaguely together for 2017. I was on the floor of the stadium in Carbondale, and you were out in the observing field in Carbondale.
Yep.
And I had a slightly bigger than the sun-sized cloud go in front of the sun just at totality, and you got to see totality.
But I got maybe 5 seconds of totality right
You're
at the
still
end.
seeing it. I have
I
not.
guess so.
You saw Corona.
Yeah.
I have never seen Corona.
Yeah, I guess. I'm gonna still say that I saw 0.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but you've tried a few times now. So
Yeah.
each time
Yeah.
you get clouds. Yeah. All right. And so I think this this is going to cast a long shadow, pardon the pun, over our recommendation. So we're going to get into the science with this, but first, I think it's just really important for us to just give general advice about how to maximize your chances of getting the best experience for the total solar eclipse. If you're going to be in the eclipse path, and something like 30 million people in North America live under the path. Just live. You step outside, look up, you will see the eclipse. And then there's all the people that are coming from elsewhere, like me, like you, to try and get under the eclipse path. So first, step one, let's just talk about safety because it's absolutely critical.
Yes. A lot of people have a lot of misinformation. If you're going to try and use welding glass, it has to be 14 or higher. So the myth that you can just use a welding visor is like on Rotten Tomatoes, where they're like, there is a grain of truth in this somewhere, but it's not true.
Right.
Uh, it's much more a case of you have to have level 14 or higher. The best thing to do is to not try and get yourself welding glasses. They're heavy, they're thick, they cost a whole lot of money. Instead, get yourself a pair of ISO certified Eclipse glasses. There
Yep.
are a bunch of.
And
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so the American Astronomical Society has a page where they describe vendors. You can buy them on Amazon still. You're looking for the ISO certified.
Yes.
Look, I mean, I know it's really tricky to buy stuff on Amazon, especially last minute. There's a lot of people that are going to try and sell stuff. People are freaking out about fakes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be that concerned with it. And there's some tests that you can do when you get the glasses that you can just double check to make sure that they are good enough. So how do you do that?
So it's real. I unless it's ISO certified, I can't say where I might get sued that you can see
Right.
if it's safe or not, because at home no one has the stuff to see if it's ISO certified. What you can do is the basic: make sure it doesn't have any pinholes in it, make
Yeah.
sure that it doesn't have any scratches, and holding your glasses up to a very bright light is a good step one. Step
Yeah.
two is to hold them up to the sun and not have them plastered up against your eyes, but sort of like, okay, does that look entirely dark as I'm looking at it?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's
So
trickstery, but the main
yes,
goal is you shouldn't be able to see any bright light through your glasses.
exactly. And so Andy Cowley in the chat is saying that Andy Cowley in the chat is saying that Walmart has plenty of them. And I think that's a good way to go because if
Yeah.
this late in the game now, if you're going to try to go to Amazon, then yeah, you might get a pair that's not great. But if you just go to Walmart or whatever, and as long as it says ISO certified,
Yeah.
that is the code word that you're looking for that will mean that these glasses are the right level of darkening for you to be able to see it.
And
Target,
Rainbow
any,
Symphony online is where I would go, actually. You can still get them from Rainbow Symphony, and their stuff's ISO certified.
okay, yeah. So ISO certified, that's what you're looking for from any of these places. Just it should have written on it ISO certified, and then you're good to go. All right. So that's the safety thing, and now, but there's more nuance to this because you can look at the sun, and in fact, you get the best experience when you do look at the sun. But there is a timing thing. So explain when it's unsafe to look at the sun, and when is it safe to look at the sun?
The only time it is safe to look at the sun without an eclipse viewer or using a safe solar viewer of some sort is during totality. There are apps that you can get that will play a sound when the moon
Mm,
completely blocks out that main disk of the sun, and it will make a sound when the moon starts to leave that main disk of the sun. And it's only during that few minutes or less period of time, depending on where you're located, under the path of totality, where
yeah,
you can take your glasses off. And you
yeah. So
really
you have
do
to
want to
be.
take your glasses off
Yeah,
during
you totally do,
totality.
and this is the key. Yeah, so you want to make sure that you are definitely in the path of totality, and you're watching with your glasses, and you're going to see this little final sliver diamond right at the very edge of the sun, and then when that goes away, when you pretty much can't see the sun anymore with your glasses, then you can take your glasses off, and you should be able to see the sun and the corona and the trickier part is when that sun is going to return, because then on the flip side, you get that little diamond appear again on the sun. And so, as you said, if you've got some timer, that's great. But as like the second you start to see a brightening, put the
It's
glasses
over.
back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over.
And the thing to think about is looking at the solar corona during totality. That's like the same amount of light as a full moon. It's not even as bright as a full moon. That's an exaggeration. Um, but it's safe to look at the full moon. It's safe to look at the solar corona. The
Yeah.
rest of the time, there were cases after 2017 of people who managed to burn the crescent sun into their retina.
Mm,
You don't want to burn the crescent sun into your retina.
no.
That's just the wrong kind of scarring
Yeah.
to get on purpose.
And don't mess with binoculars or telescopes unless
No.
you've got proper safety equipment.
Yeah. And
Like I can't even like I wouldn't even in the middle of totality, I wouldn't look at the
no.
sun with binoculars. Even though it's safe, it's going to be unsafe in a heartbeat. And the second there's a little bit of sunlight, it's burning your retinas. So
Yeah.
I would not take the risk.
One thing that is safe to do as long as you have glass lenses, because otherwise you're going to melt your telescope, and that's a very expensive thing to do by accident, is you can project the sun onto a wall, onto a board.
Yeah.
So
Record it with camera, whatever you want to do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So if I have the opportunity, will be projecting the sun through binoculars on a tripod, and that's a perfectly safe way. And there's even easier ways to do this. You can simply have something that you have punched a hole in with a three-ring puncher and use that to project the sun. And one of the coolest things I learned about is disco balls are very good at reflecting light, but they aren't dangerous about reflecting light. And so you
Mm.
can just get a disco ball out there, have it scatter images of the
Yeah.
sun in all directions, and every one of those little square pieces of mirror is going to give you a perfect projection of the sun.
Yeah. All right. We're going to talk about how to maximize your experience in a second, but it's time for another break. And we're back. All right. We got the safety warnings out of the way. So let's talk about how you maximize your chance to not be Pamela.
Well, I mean, the best thing you can do is position yourself next to a highway near the path or under the path and be
Right.
prepared with maps and with a full tank of gas and look at the weather models the night before and plan a run
Yeah.
for it. Now, this eclipse is quite polite. It is a daytime event. So you will have the ability to get up and say, I'm going to make a break for it and decide which way to go.
Yep.
It enters Mexico. The eclipse starts at 11:07 Pacific in Mexico. Here in St. Louis, where we're about the midpoint in the United States, max is at 2 p.m. We're at 99%. I'll be down in Carbondale, where it's 100% at 1:59 p.m. And it leaves into Canada at 3:33 p.m. And I have to admit, I was not able to find the times that it was going through Canada because everyone is like, yeah, don't go there. The weather's going to be
Don't go to
terrible.
Canada. Yeah. I'm Canadian. I'm not going to Canada. Now, and so I think there's this sort of this strategic plan that you have to think about. So a few days in advance, you have to look at those weather forecasts and
Yeah.
say what regions are expected to have sunny skies, and then
Yes.
you've got to choose to go to one of those. Like if it's where you are, great, you did it, you won.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're going to have to go. It looks like it's going to be sunny 100 kilometers north from me or 100 kilometers south from me, and so you're going to have to plan to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, be close to a highway, but there's going to be a lot of traffic congestion, and so being away from a highway is also good. If you can just take
The
back
rural
roads,
routes.
if you can take rural routes to get
Especially through
where you
Texas.
need to go, then that might be the path to go as well, because the highways could just be chock-a-block and you're stuck. People ask me like, well, I want to, what's the right place to see it? What's the best situation and scenery? And like, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. All that matters is that you can see
Yeah.
the sun from where you are, and you could be in a dense forest and you find a little spot, an opening in the trees, you can see the sun. You can be in the plains, whatever. I would avoid places where a lot of people are expecting to go, because you're not going to be able to get out and you're not going to be able to stay mobile.
The coolest story I've heard from anyone so far is a fellow who in rural Illinois was like, I'm going to go up to they build these towers that you can hunt deer from. It's a thing, deer
Mm.
stands. So he went up into his deer stand in rural Illinois. He's the only one for miles. There were trees around. And of course, there were deer because they feed deer from deer stands. And he said all the deer in the herd came and lay down and pretended like, well, I mean, they didn't pretend. For them, it was real that it
Right.
was time to settle down. And there's actually NASA projects out there for observing animals and submitting data because researchers are still trying to figure out what of all of these stories that people tell are real, are
Mm.
imagined, and what is
Oh, that's
actually
really neat.
happening.
So the analogy that I always use is don't think of this like a picnic.
Yeah.
Don't think of this like you're going to go someplace, you can sit down, you can bring your friends and your family, you can sit around. Think of this like a heist, that you are considering your escape routes. You are considering, keep the car running. And you're going to have a bunch of ideas. Like if we have to go north, then we're going to go here. And if we have to go south, then we're going to go over there. And even on the day, a few hours, the clouds are coming in, but you know that there's clear skies 100 kilometers north. You got to drive.
Yeah.
And then, even in the moment, minutes before, you're looking at the various clouds. And this is the thing that you couldn't do. This is the thing that I couldn't do, but we had friends that did.
Yeah.
They
It was
got in their cars
amazing.
and they even, in some cases, they ran to get out from under a cloud. Because
Yeah.
if
You
it's
can
just a big,
see
big,
the clouds coming across the field and you can run to stay
yeah,
in front of the cloud.
yeah,
It's ridiculous,
yeah,
but yes, it's a
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Dodge that cloud. If there's just a bunch of fluffy clouds around in all directions, then yeah, you're going to have to move. And so you're going to need in a place, a field, uh, rural streets, places where you can move and not get hit by a car. And so think about your safety, but also think about how to get to a place where you are going to get clear skies. Because it's 2 minutes and then it's done. And then you can take as long as you need to get home again in horrible traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I recommend pausing, picking up food, eating some of the food, and then just being prepared to treat this like the longest munchy
Yeah.
car ride ever on your way home?
Yep, exactly. Now what about cameras? Because a lot of people ask, I talked to a bunch of people and they're like telling me this is their first time, but they're also going to bring their camera gear and they're going to try and capture the
Yeah,
eclipse. What do you think
no.
about taking pictures of the eclipse?
So there is software that you can get for jailbroken phones that, not phones, for jailbroken cameras that will control the exposure times for you. You set up your camera, you get it going with the software, and it just goes and does its own thing. Now, if you're in a situation where you can have your jailbroken camera that you are utterly ignoring, like it is dead to you during
Mm,
totality, that's fine. Do
yeah.
not be messing with your exposures. Do not be touching your camera. Do not be looking through your viewfinder. None of this is a good use of that
No.
seconds to minutes that you have in the shadow of the sun.
Unless you've seen multiple
Yeah.
unless you're bored of watching total solar eclipses with your own eyeballs, then consider trying to take a picture of it. Or if you're a pro. But it is one of the most complicated astrophotography shots to do
Yeah.
because you're going from full sunlight
Yeah.
to no sunlight. And
And
so
people are
so the
pulling filters off.
yeah, the exposure requirements are different.
Yeah.
You have to put ND filters on top of it. Then you have to remove them. You have to change the exposures, all of that. And all of this time, as you're fussing with your camera, with your back to the sun,
Yeah.
you are not experiencing the solar eclipse. And you have to do the solar eclipse. And so my recommendation is, like, unless you've seen a bunch of these and you know what you're doing and you're an experienced astrophotographer, don't even bother bringing the magic in your soul that you experience from seeing the eclipse, and you will just ruin your experience by attempting to fuss with your gear. Don't do it. It's a newbie trap.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk now about what science is going to be done during this eclipse, but it's time for another break. And we're back. All right, so people are watching it, but they want to take their enthusiasm to the next level. how can they participate in some science while this is happening?
So the projects that you can still get involved in aren't all that exciting if you're dreaming of recreating general relativity observations or something. Those projects, those people, so we have the Modern Eddington experiment, we have Project CATE, they have been doing practice observations for months so that it will be muscle memory during the eclipse. So there are citizen science projects out there that are observation based, looking at the sun, fancy equipment. They are amazing. I can't wait to see their results. For you, dear humans watching this right now, the kinds of things that we have available for you are the Globe, which does Globe at Night, and a variety of other science projects. They have a project where they're asking people to measure the temperature change from
Mm,
before the partial phase starts all the way through the partial phase, through totality and out, and also measuring the percent cloud cover. And they're trying to better understand the correlation between clouds, temperature, and phase of the eclipse that is being experienced, to make sense of all of these stories about totality hits and the clouds go away. There are a lot of stories people have, not me, I'm not one of those people. There are a lot of stories other people have about how that occurs, and they're trying to get to the science of that. There is also projects to understand what exactly happens with the wildlife. So here
mm.
we have the Soundscapes project. Google Eclipse Soundscapes. You can still get involved in a variety of different roles. They have people both observing what's going on around them, putting up audio recorders to actually measure both comparison data 24 hours or more ahead of time and afterwards, and then during the eclipse, seeing how, when things get twilight colored, what happens at midday. How are these animals responding? Um, I'm really excited about the Soundscape project. This is an extremely well done project that also allows people who are differently abled to fully be involved in the project in a
Mm.
variety of different ways, which we don't see very often.
Yeah, it's really cool. Um, uh, and so we'll put some links in the show notes for people to be able to access some of these projects. And so not just citizen science, actually,
No,
NASA is doing some science as well.
there are
So
chase planes.
I know, it's so amazing. They're gonna send a rocket,
I'm much more excited
sounding
about the
rocket.
chase planes because when you're in the path of totality, there is just something cool about looking up, seeing the jets go by, and knowing those chase planes are literally working to keep their butts in the shadow of the sun, measuring
Yeah.
what's going on with our atmosphere throughout the entirety of totality. There's also all sorts of weather balloon projects that are going on. So our atmosphere responds to the sun, it responds to the solar energy, it responds to the magnetic field of the sun. And all of these different things are getting shadowed to different amounts,
Yeah.
where there are people who are going to be out there looking at changes in radio signal, changes in how our ionosphere is working. There's actually a ham radio project that is collaborating with all these other NASA projects to see how far they can bounce radio signals through the ionosphere during totality. Um, Essentially, this is the one free chance we get to look at the middle layers of the solar corona, see how the magnetic energy is getting transformed into heat by looking at how these layers of the corona that we otherwise never get to see are changing and moving. We get to see the electron density flowing through that magnetic field. All of this is stuff normally hidden from us entirely by that bright disk of the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. So these chase planes, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the eclipse shadow is moving so fast, you don't realize, but it is moving at well over 1,000 kilometers per hour. And so you still only get a little extra time of totality as you're flying in the chase plane, but it's enough to just do more, double or triple the science. Um, and there's some weird stuff that happens during eclipses, like as you say, temperature
Yeah.
changes, cloud changes that happen. And what's great is that it's this way to introduce this one variable. You make this, everything is the same. It's the middle of the daytime.
Yeah.
You know what the normal weather conditions are. You know what the normal climate conditions are, and you remove the sun, right, from each one of these places along the entire eclipse path. And this just informs scientists an enormous amount. There's a weird tendency for clouds, for light clouds to disappear
Yeah.
as
And
the
it's
eclipse is
finally
beginning.
getting understood
And hopefully they're
slowly.
going to understand. Yeah, yeah. So you'd think after hundreds of eclipses that people have been able to see
And
over
this is
hundreds
one
of
of the
years.
things, the ability to get high quality equipment and high quality weather in the same place is statistically, like, it just does not happen the way you would expect. Eddington back in 1919 was super lucky with taking the images he did and seeing as many stars near the edge of the sun as he did, allowing confirmation of Eddington's general relativity. Now, he was able to confirm that near the edge of the sun there is a um, bending of the light of about 1.75 arc seconds. We know that the amount that the light is bent should decrease in a well understood way as you go further and further from the edge of the sun. Those numbers still haven't been fully confirmed.
Hmm.
Like, we trust them, we believe them, but they aren't confirmed. And folks have been trying to confirm them since those original measurements, and they're going to try again this year to confirm
What
this
Eddington
function
saw.
of distance with the modern Eddington experiment. And I read a paper on all the things that have plagued past measurements, from perfect weather and not enough stars to enough stars and imperfect weather. It's just a cursed experiment.
Yep. Yep. It's really interesting. Well, I think on this note, good luck,
Yeah.
everybody, for getting a chance to see the eclipse. Those of you who aren't going to be able to travel to it, you will be able to watch versions of it online, I'm sure.
And partial
Um,
eclipse for everyone in North America.
and right. But remember, 99% is nope.
Yeah.
You need, if you can see 99%, you can see 100%. So
And
don't.
there's
99% is
research
unacceptable.
and there's research showing that this actually causes brain chemistry things to happen,
Oh,
and
wow.
there's ongoing research. This is as close to the overview effect as you get while on the
Oh, I
surface of the
love it.
planet.
That's
So
awesome.
go experience it. Feel all the endorphins I have never felt,
Yeah,
and
oh,
I
this
have
is it. This
rain
is your year.
forecast.
Oh, do you? Oh, I haven't dared look at my long range forecast. I know it's just gonna freak me out
Yeah, I know
in
I'm
Texas.
attached to a soundboard on the floor of the Carbondale Stadium again. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, Pamela, thank you so much. Good luck. And we'll talk
Thank
in
you.
a couple of weeks after we both experience our versions of this amazing adventure.
And thank you to all the patrons who make this and everything else we do possible. We thank the $10 and up folks at the end of our episode. You are our, I shall mispronounce your names, category of donors, and you make all the difference. All of you, even the folks who throw $1 at us once a year, maybe. It makes all the difference. We appreciate you so much. This week, I would like to thank by name, which I will mispronounce, Time Lord Ibro, Robert Hundle, Paul Esposito, Michael Hartford, Just Me and the Cat, Will Hamilton, Jeff McDonald, Lee Harborn, Katie Byrne, Conrad Holling, Thomas Gazetta, Jarvis Earl, Tushnar Nakini, Mike Heisey, Bob Crail, Greg Wild, John Baptiste Lamatine, Noah Albertson, Cody Rose, Michael Purcell, Sterling Gray, Adam W., Simeon Torfison, Mark Schneidler, Michael Prochanda, Astro Bob, Galactic President Scooper Star McScoops a lot. I love that one. And John Bays. Thank you all so very much for everything you do.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week. No, in
Bye-bye.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Bye-bye. And then they saved.
I just checked my weather forecast for Dallas. Thunderstorms,
Yeah.
scattered thunderstorms.
Yeah. So you're gonna be mobile though.
Yep. Um, episode 715.
Wee.
So I just posted a new video on my channel where me and two alumni from the Weekly Space Hangout rank every single Fermi paradox explanation.
Oh,
So Moya McTeer and Dakota Tyler, and we just go through the Great
that's
Filter, the
amazing.
yeah, it was super fun. And so we spent about 5 minutes on each one that we're alone, the Great Filter, techno interstellar travel is impossible, and just decide. And then, these are S tier, those are A tier. So uh the S tier one
Mm-hmm.
was that advanced civilizations destroy themselves.
I
Self-destruction.
there
Yeah.
is a Robert Sawyer book. A Mote in God's Eye? No, that can't
No,
be right.
Molten God's Eyes, Niven, and Pornell.
Yeah, who okay. What is the name of the book Robert Sawyer did?
Is that the one where the aliens surround the Earth in a bubble that makes them
No, it's
experience
a
time
different
differently?
one.
It's not.
Um, Calculating God.
Okay.
Calculating God is one that addresses the Fermi paradox. It's really good.
Okay. I'll check that out. Calculating God. Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoy Robert Sawyer's books. And
Yeah,
he's
he's
written
he's
some
terrific.
new ones since I last looked.
All right, so that's year 2000.
I have not read Oppenheimer Alternative or the Downloaded.
Oh, I've
Things
I've
I
only
need to
read like
get.
I read Flash Forward.
The Neanderthal the Hominids Humans Hybrids trilogy is one that brought me joy.
Hmm.
Um, Calculating God is really good. Um, oh, I mean, I like pretty much everything he does. That's just those two
Yeah.
sets brought me the most joy.
Okay. All right. There's so much to read.
This is the light in our life. I finally made it
Yeah.
through all of Brandon Sanderson's books. I started a new oh man, he wrote the Bobiverse books. Name begins with a D. It is totally gone from
Oh,
my brain.
I've interviewed him.
Uh we're terrible humans. Where's my phone?
I got.
Um
I'll
I started Outland.
Dennis C. Taylor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dennis Taylor, his Outland books involve a volcano, and that brings me joy.
Mm-hmm.
So I started that last night after I was done with the last of Brandon Sanderson's four mystery novels. So
So
secret novels, four secret
Carla
novels.
Carla read my wife, she read the Last Empire series, I guess the Mist World books,
Yeah, yeah, they're
and she was right sick of Sanderson by the end of it. So I'm like, oh, what? And so then you're gonna love this. And so she wanted like, I want some hard science fiction. And so I picked up Pushing Ice based on your recommendation. And so she listened to Pushing Ice by Alistair Reynolds and just loved it
good,
and
good.
just thought it was the perfect book. And so
Yeah,
now
Alistair
she's
Reynolds is
reading,
another one who's been
yeah.
bringing me joy.
And so now she's reading the Revelation Space series, which is vastly more complicated, but is also really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like it is very mind-blowing as a series. So yeah. Um, all right, let's see if we've got any questions.
Yes. My brain, I like
Otherwise,
felt it go thwomp and shut off at one point.
I don't see any questions here in the chat beyond that
I
first
am
question that I
looking
did.
for the
Oh,
Twitch chat,
so
which I
Alan is
did.
asking, will Astronomy Cast recording be moved to a different time next week? Just we're not doing
No,
an
next
episode next
week
week.
is a week off.
Yeah.
We have a lot of the CosmoQuest mod team is coming to my house, and we're going to spend the week getting to know each other face to face. What a novel idea. So, yeah. So Fenmil is asking if there's any meetup in Dallas area planned. I think
Not
that's to
by
you.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, not me. I mean, I'm going to be there, but I have no plans to do anything social beyond see my wife's family and hang out with them.
Real fake admin, who's part of our admin team, is like, woohoo! What is touching grass when you can go to someone else's place? Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
So Zazink asks, if the moon is slowly moving away from us, how long will it be until there's no longer an eclipse? Oh man, I looked that up before. I
Yeah, me
don't remember
too.
now.
When will the last solar eclipse happen? Around 600 million years from now.
Okay. It's going in my notebook of random facts about the eclipse I need to know. So for those of you looking for some place to watch it on TV, I'm going to be on the Weather Channel pretty much all day on Monday doing bits from the Carbondale site. So yeah. So Real Fake Admin asks, what comes first, the moon leaving Earth orbit or the sun expanding? So the moon won't leave Earth orbit. It's just moving far enough away that it will be a angular size that doesn't make it possible for it to totally eclipse the sun. There's currently a factor of 400 between the distance between us and the moon and us and the sun, and about a factor of 400 difference between the diameter of the sun and the diameter of the moon. And that factor of 400 is what makes this all work.
So, so the Earth is tidally locking to the moon.
Yeah.
Like already the moon is tidally locked to the Earth. And so it's going to take about 50 billion years for the Earth to tidally lock to the moon. So that
we will probably have our orbit changed before then, though.
Yes. Yeah. So that's when the sun will expand in say 7.5 billion years, and that will mess with our orbit, possibly eat the Earth.
Eating the Earth is never a good option. It's just what happens.
Yeah. So, I mean, we still get this argument about astronomers right now. Will the sun consume the Earth? Will it not? It's still like there's like a paper that says the sun will consume the Earth, and then the sun won't consume the Earth.
And it comes down to mass loss. We still don't really understand mass loss rates really well and how mass loss rates change as the sun evolves. And if the sun loses enough mass, our orbit will evolve outward enough that we will stay safe. If it doesn't lose enough mass, we stay too close.
Yeah.
Here's a question that I now want to calculate. Q23 asks, I was recently wondering, if the moon's orbit slows down, when will Easter and Christmas fall on the same day? And I kind of love that question because of how we have changed the dates the holidays occur. Easter was matched vaguely to spring equinox, and Christmas was matched vaguely to winter solstice as part of making it easier to convert pagans of different ilks in Europe. And so if you look at the account of what animals were in the manger area, uh, scholars of this actually say that it was probably spring where Jesus was born. Um, yeah, Passover is clearly set where it is set. And like right now, we have Easter and Passover deeply offset from each other.
Hmm.
So, National Geographic has been doing a lot of really cool articles lately on the archaeology around basically the path of Jesus, where religious or not, the history involved is cool.
Yeah. Are there any more questions? I don't see any.
So the Raven Lillian, the 600 million years from now is the last total eclipse. After
Yes,
that, it
not
will be
it's
rings of
annulars.
fire all the way down.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Annular eclipses from that point forward. But I mean, they're cool,
I
but they're not the
I have
same.
not seen one of those either,
No, neither have
um,
I.
but that they're on a list of things I really want to see. Had I had better income last year, I really wanted to go see Ring of Fire
Mm-hmm.
from the town in New Mexico that had the alien crash that was probably just a weather balloon. Roswell. So the October annular eclipse went over Roswell, New Mexico. Um, and I'd wanted to go see it there, but money. So instead, I got rained on while at a Renaissance fair here. I thought it would be really cool to see it from the Renaissance fair and like pretend to be a historic astronomer and confuse people by inflicting science on them from the Renaissance festival. But it just rained because it's me. It just rained.
Yeah. Yeah. You bring the rain. Sean Reikley says, I've got one, but it's nuts. Yeah, so Tim pointing, we just answered that your question. As the moon's orbit slowly grows, eventually it'll never be close enough to the Earth for a total eclipse. It's about 600 million years. Is we shift from total solar eclipses to only annular eclipses.
Yeah.
Transits. Um, 5 more minutes. Is there a rant? What are you watching?
I currently am not watching anything because I have been deeply invested in trying to make it through all of Brandon Sanderson's books.
Right. You're reading every book.
And I just finished yesterday. I am
Yeah, but
done. I am
yeah, but
free.
check today. He's probably written 4 more today. So
He was
starts again.
talking at the end of one of them about how he's done 50 novels.
Mm.
I did not read all of them. I've only read the Cosmere series and the random wizarding book that is in the Four Secret Novels set.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what should I
you
be
still have
watching?
many.
That is a better question. I went to see
Which
Godzilla Cross Kong over the weekend.
so have you watched Three Body Problem yet
No, I
on
have not. That
Netflix?
that I need to
Okay.
do.
Yeah, I would definitely watch that. I finished it. Well, we talked about this last week. Um, let's see. Have you watched all of the uh Love, Death and Robots yet
No,
on Netflix?
I can't clean the house and watch TV. I can listen to books and watch TV.
Mm,
Not to watch TV, clean the house. I can listen to
mm,
books and clean the house.
right. Okay. So you're looking for recommendations on listening.
Yeah, so I've done all of McAllister's. I have done all of Sanderson's. I have done everything by Scalzi. I have done everything by Becky Chambers. I have done, I
Wow.
think, everything by Nnedi Okorafor. Um, oh, uh,
People need to understand you have a big house. It needs a lot of cleaning.
oh my gosh! And I have Australian shepherds who just shed.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of Martha Wells stuff. Rebecca Cure, not Rebecca Cure, Veronica Cure. Um, Raven Lillian says that they're reading Hound of the Baskervilles. That's a really good
Mm-hmm.
Sherlock
I mean,
Holmes book.
yeah. Yeah, I read that
Um,
when I was a kid.
Alex White stuff. I've finished catching up on that. I need to catch up on Mur Lafferty's latest 2 books. So Fenmel, sorry, it's scrolled on me. Zazink asks, is there a place where we can see all your recommendations on books and films? I always forget them. I need to put that up on my website.
Mm,
That's on my to-do
yeah.
list.
I have a list on Goodreads, but I don't keep it very up to date.
Yeah.
I'm not very organized. All right. Well, let's wrap things up. So thank you,
Okay.
everybody, for joining us today. Pamela, good luck.
Thank
Good
you.
hunting.
I
And
expect
me
to be
too.
rained on.
Yeah. Hey, come on.
If I
know.
believe the worst will occur, anything
Yeah,
that doesn't involve active rain will be considered a good day.
that sounds good. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks in advance to the editors, producers. Everyone's got to deal with this brain slop.
Yeah.
And we will see all of you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Good hunting, everybody.
Yep. Bye-bye. And wait. I'm back to the same problem as last week of awkward
Where's the button?
transition due to monitor size.
Where is the button?
Awkward transition, and